All right, welcome to the semifinals. We've got the Banter Boys versus Team Gouda. We have eliminated half the teams. We really appreciate them coming along. Were some really fantastic games, but we've got some more coming at you halfway home. Let's look at the bracket very quickly before going into this round. Semifinals look like this. We will be playing a third and fourth place match because Battle Aces has contributed to this pool. They are giving t-shirts for precisely third, so there is something to play for.
Yeah, and we're going to be getting on into the first of our semifinal matches, the top-ranked team on the 2v2 ladder versus the stinkiest cheese on the 2v2 ladder. Take it away.
In the bottom left, in the spring colors, we have Banter Boys with Nugify and Knight.
And in the top right, Axiom and Ghost, Team Gouda, showing the stinky cheese in the entirety of the previous season, bringing, looks like the same decks as the first game of the last series, repping the fall colors.
Yeah, I've liked your terminology of the spring and fall or spring and autumn colors for this. I think it's a really good way of going about it now. Also important to point out, if they're wise players, Nugify and Knight will have watched the previous set. They will have a plan for this. They shouldn't get punched in the teeth unsuspecting in game number one, like Astra.
I think we already see that adjustment coming in. Knight going into an immediate destroyer attack on two bases, possibly looking to punish the third that Axiom and Ghost have been taking very early on.
I will say, Ektar, that is the strategy that I came up with as well, so clearly I am just as prepared. Two-base destroyer was something that we did, and we were able to take out Axiom and Ghost's third base.
We still lost.
We still lost the game, but what I'm saying is a team better than us might be able to leverage that advantage in a better way, or with a different composition, such as the mortars.
Yeah, we do got a little bit of poking at the natural coming out from Nugify, using the extra mobility that the Blinks have to try and trade efficiently against the recalls, as well as taking out the unshielded workers there in the little larva skin. I love those.
Yeah, they're little adorable little skins. Always nice to just have a little bit of flair into it. Added a couple cosmetics, just fun to have.
Yeah. Knight is they're not going for a two-base destroyer push. They're going to immediate tier 3, mirroring what their opponents are doing. Nugify, just about to finish up their tier 2, went into a quicker third base, so stronger economics in the place of a weaker tech timing, but since they probably expect to be on the defensive, maybe they can slow the push from Axiom and Ghost down enough for Nugify to get to his own tier 3.
Now, I will say, Nugify and Knight have not found the same level of harassment value in this game as Astra did in the previous game. Astra was finding damage on the side workers more, so if nothing else, they're in a spot. They're not in any better of spot than our previous team.
Knight coming out with the immediate energy dump into a bunch of snipers and then all matter assault bots, continuing to push up units behind this. They are ready to defend this push as much as they can. The Nugify's tier 3 is going to come on in just a little bit. I think they're going to go into the advanced blinks for that anti-big tech that they are so desperate for right now.
No, it is a swell of
double
14
snipers.
Snipers are insane. Now look at them using the blinks, pulling off the opponent's snipers, and they're going to try and get an advantage this way. They're going to look at them. Huge amounts of damage dealt already through to the snipers and the advanced destroyers. We've seen those are the units that have survived the push. So we'll see how this push, how the incremental value goes against what looks like 15 or so snipers from Nugify.
It's a lot of snipers, and the assault bots I think are going to be the really big difference maker. There's no splash once again from either side here. I think that favors Nugify and Knight though, as Axiom and Ghost are getting pushed back harder than we've ever seen from them.
We've done this once. It's the follow-up that's going to be really difficult now. But look at all these snipers. Snipers are just 2v2's menace right now. This is 30 snipers.
Yeah,
20
and
snipers.
They match the advanced destroyers in range, but they beat them for cost because they shoot so much quicker. If you're doing micro and only letting one shotgun off the advanced destroyers, they're slightly better. But when it comes to just standing and delivering, snipers are the unit to beat in 2v2, it's looking like.
Yeah, and they have reduced damage in 2v2, but that does not matter. That was a pronounced rebuttal to the push.
It sure was, and I think a lot of it really does come down to two things. Nugify, I think, expanding sooner, so they got a bigger group of units when their Tier 3 came online, as well as running around with the blinks and getting that big pounce onto those advanced destroyers. Trading out matter for energy is almost always worth it in this game, because your energy units are what win.
Yeah, and you gain matter so much quicker, so it's guaranteed, you know, it is the less valuable resource by a good bit. So, being able to trade even 2-to-1 is still a huge trade up overall.
It sure is, and now that begs the question. Do Axiom and
Ghost.
Sorry,
I have Night Clone on here. Am I correct, or is that Ghost? I don't know why I've had that wrong. Whoopsie daisy. Let's fix this.
Do Team Gouda make an adjustment in playstyle or just in control? I think that just control is workable. They just need to try to not lose the units that they lost there, and we might be able to find a much better position for the cheesemakers going into this second game.
Yep.
Friendly Fire SC, I agree. Assault bots are crazy strong against anything non-splash, and we identified in the previous game, no splash comes out from Team Gouda. They just kind of roll forward with big and range. So I think assault bots are a very good attempt to answer that playstyle.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, they found an answer so quickly. It is Ghost. I don't know why I have Night Clone on here, unless that was a different name. I'm going to quickly check my sign-up sheet very quickly. Oh, it is Night Clone in Discord and in that, but we're going to switch that to Ghost. That's why I did base it off the sign-ups. Let me go ahead and update that very quickly. Team 4, we're just going to change it to Ghost. Boom, look at that. Everything on this whole darn thing is modular. Let's get into game 2. Don't build core anti-air units when the enemy doesn't have air. Incredible stuff.
We do have the adjustment with only the one Guardian Shield coming out from Guardian and Ghost, so doing the slightly modified version of their build actually somewhat adjusted. I don't remember actually what Ghost's Starforge looks like because I've never seen them build it.
That's entirely accurate. I, in fact, do not know what the Starforge, if they have plans for that. But as far as the core of Axiom going, Starforge, Ghost going, Foundry, it is the same song and dance.
Yeah, both, once again, going for the early expand. A little bit of a recall coming into that natural, but I don't think that they're going to find a whole lot of value. We've got Knight going in, yeah, basically the same builds as last game. Axiom Ghost doing their build, Nugify going for the expand before tech.
You know, XR, just thought of something.
What's that?
What if I put this whole tournament on so somebody could beat this build, and then we can go beat them on ladder finally?
I mean, I would say that you're not that petty, but
I'm not. I would not. I'm just happy to see 2v2, to be perfectly honest.
yeah, I mean, if you were willing to spend $150 of your own money to beat Axiom and Ghost, more power to you.
I know, right? For a beta.
And good job on bamboozling me into contributing to the prize pool as well. And you too can contribute to the prize pool by dropping Matcherino in the chat if you like what you're seeing here. If you want to tell the devs that we like 2v2, we want to make sure that the game runs well for 2v2, show your support. And thank you for watching.
Of course, thank you especially to everybody watching, everybody participating. It's a lot of work putting these all together, but the games have been worth it. It's been a lot of fun.
Also, shout out to Darian at Uncapped Games for reaching out and helping us to get some of our fantastic combatants in here for this match and providing the physical swag for the top 3 finishes.
I can actually put that on the stream very quickly. I can put the statue on the stream. Wow, that is bigger than it should have been. This is an actual statue that'll be given out to a team that wins this whole thing. There'll be 2 of them. So,
yeah, and the other one has an angry face. Yeah. It's really heckin' cute. Alright, we've got an extra base coming out now from Knight, really wanting to spread Team Gouda thin once their Tier 3 comes online. Big Blinks are going to come in and find a lot of recalls. Trades up really nicely even when going to the Guardian Shield. Huge amount of assault bots and snipers, mostly assault bots coming out from Knight right now.
Yeah, we're gearing up for a similar game. Look at this. Axiom and Ghost are running off to a faster 4th base, and they're going to play, I think they're going to just play purely defensively here. Now, if they don't lose snipers like they did last time, they'll be in a better spot.
And because they both have the recalls, any one of them can defend on this base from the harassment. Guardian Shield is going to make that a difficult proposition to attack in the first place, although Nugify does have the technical into advanced blinks if they want a unit that can more effectively snipe these buildings down.
Now what they can do is try and just bank up to 200 bandwidth and see what occurs. When you delay the push really, really hard and just go into bigger units. However, here comes the fight again. Assault bots are dealing a ton of damage. Leaving through these behemoths, snipers are getting a lot of value on both sides, but look at the sniper just line in the back here for the Banter Boys.
We're going to need a couple more buildings to fit all of these snipers, Ace. There is just an unbelievable number of them. Apparently the answer to all ground units is just more snipers. Even behemoths, which take half damage from them and have a ton of hit points, can't stand up to the might of 30-odd snipers.
This is looking better, though. Like, bandwidth-wise, teams are both equal right now. Knight is pushing down towards the 4th base, is not going to find a lot until the assault bots show up, but they are. Response will be there with the...
Decimated.
Oh, God, yeah. But it might
this
provide
flank,
just enough
however,
time.
This flank might be the thing that gets Axiom and Ghost into a spot here, although... What do you do against 40 snipers?
Oh my... The answer is die. Hector, I'm going to switch up my Foundry next time we play. Just putting it out there.
You don't go Foundry.
I will if it does this.
Rainbow Desk, snipers do half damage to big and behemoth are big.
Yeah, they were splash last time. Now they were single target, but still do half to big. We can go check that in the stats later just to be sure.
We've got a 2 advanced destroyer run by into the top here, which actually maybe could just take out this base all by itself. There's a couple of blinks and advanced blinks that are going to try to get on top of them. They're right-clicked onto the building. They're not going to get it, though. The blinks are able to mount the defense in time, and now things are looking really rough for Team Gouda.
Yeah, 100 bandwidth lead for each player over here on our spring-colored side, and it's going to be tough. Here come the assault bots bringing the front line in. The blinks are there. Look at this absolute absurd amount of snipers. This is ridiculous. Holy smokes.
There were so many snipers that they couldn't even make an arc. They had snipers backed up behind snipers.
That is disgusting. Team Gouda now pushed up to a tough spot. Whoops. Whoa, let's switch scenes. Easy peasy. As they are now down 0-2. Nugify and Knight seem to have found the answer, and it has one gun for every unit.
Yeah. Turns out, one gun man, pretty good hero. Flabbergasted.
The advanced destroyers just don't seem to be getting any value because they just die. So I'm wondering if that's the thing we're going to try and see switched up in between these games, is the advanced destroyer specifically. Love to see some other kind of stuff. We'll see that.
The advanced destroyer has a lot of similar statistics with the sniper. The same range, the same damage baseline, the same movement speed. They have slightly more health and a much lower attack speed, so if they're just kind of fighting each other, the snipers will win. But in a poke war, they should be functionally identical. However, snipers do half damage versus big, and the advanced destroyers do do a lot more damage versus big. But the big units have not been what have been getting Nugify and Knight ahead. It has been the 30 to 50 snipers and a mess of assault bots.
Yep, that is entirely correct. Looking at... We'll have to see what the response is. I kind of... Maybe I'm kind of nuts. I kind of want to see double Foundry from Axiom and Ghost. I want to see bombers come in and try and punish the sniper clumping.
I think, if anything, they'll punish the assault bots. I don't know that bombers get into the snipers at that range. We do have double Foundry, though.
There we go. First deviation, because, yeah, I think you're entirely right. If the snipers can land better shots, or the behemoths don't get completely obliterated, I think they're just in a better spot. Now, it's going to come down to execution against a team that is barreled through their opponents so far, so going to be a difficult one, but Axiom and Ghost have a real chance at this, I think, with these adjustments.
We actually have another adjustment coming out. Nugify is going into Starforge.
Here we go.
A very different landscape coming out for this game number 3, this potential decider for Team Gouda.
Yeah, so on here we've got Shades. That's the important unit here. Shades are just going to be incredible against Bomber, Sniper, Heavy, not Heavy Ballista, but Bomber, Sniper, and Hornets. They've got to find a way to navigate around the Shade that's just going to punish everything.
Yeah, the only answer they're going to have for a very long time are Hornets. And Hornets don't do unbelievably well versus Shades. They can kind of chase them down, but they're very low hit points and they're relatively low damage versus anti-air. Shades can trade okay into them, but if the Shades are ever left unmolested into a worker line, there won't be a worker line.
As the Shade count grows, the matchup gets more and more Shade favored as well. Because there will be more Hornets, and the Shade splash will start to increase the burden of execution required on the Shade player, or on the Hornet player, apologies.
Nugify doing some very fancy shift queuing micro, taking half of their army, clicking it onto one worker, and then queuing the blink away, and then doing that same play with a second worker, so really trying to eke out every small advantage that they can.
Yeah, and I want to point out, shift queuing, if you're, not as good as some of these players, is a really, really solid way of increasing your APM and harassment capabilities without actually having to click more buttons all the time and be aware of 3 control groups. If you can just take a set of units, just shift-click them like Shades, and shift-click them back and forth constantly between bases, you will be in a really neat spot. Here come the Shades. There are 10 of them. And yeah, look at them go.
All of the small units. There's a couple of Hornets out, but nowhere near enough to deal with this number. They take out all of the snipers. They take out all of the Hornets even. More Hornets are going to come in now, but the Shades with their splash damage are actually going to win that fight. They're going to win the next fight as well, it looks like. And now Nugify and Knight, with sheer strength of numbers, are just looking to barrel through this game 3.
Yeah, that is convincing. Axiom did not have the flak turrets to retreat to, and all of a sudden, Banter Boys are moving on to the finals convincingly.
That was very skillful, and also very intelligent, I think. Like, the adjustment coming out from Nugify, who, with the early third, gave themselves the opportunity to decide on their tech path sooner, as opposed to the other 3 players who teched immediately, which obviously gives you access to your units quicker. But with Nugify and Knight knowing that they're probably going to be the defensive team, took the economic lead and did the style of play that allows them to adjust to what their opponents are doing. And Shades were an unbelievable adjustment.
Yeah, no, that was really, really well played overall. You could see it. It was a convincing 3-0. But as with all the teams that make the semifinals, you will be seeing them again, Banter Boys in the finals and Team Gouda in the 3rd place match. The jig is out on how to beat their strategy, but can you execute it as well? And can they adapt? We will have to see. We will go to our 2nd match, so semifinal match. Pulling up the bracket, Behemoth Abusers against Aftermath will be our next match. Give us a couple minutes, get all the lobbies set up, and we'll be right back with more 2v2 action.